Hey nerds, join us on Discord and hit that subscribe button.
Magic and fire. I am Sika.
Thessaly. Olma.
Kelek. Flynn. And I'm your DM, Seth. Welcome to Venture Forth. When last we left our heroes. After a long and cold journey through the raging woods, the agents of repair finally crested a rise within the raging peaks and saw below them the lights of Oakengate Monastery. You all made your way into the small village center to the sole inn known as the Peak's Respite. You entered into the establishment to find it filled to bursting with curios and oddities, leavings from past visitors, and a select few individuals who are here at the monastery during the long eve. You met with the proprietress, Rosie Durweather, the kind and firm former cook of the monastery and one of Olma's closest and only friends during her time here. A joyful reunion was had. Some questions were asked as Rosie tried to get the full measure of what sort of people her dear Olma had fallen in with since their last party. Satisfied with each of you, or at least by all appearances, you were given rooms, but did not head to bed. You first met with Eirik Ironheart, a half-orc man who informed you of the nature of the various oddities scattered throughout the inn, and that they were part of a long-standing tradition of the inn, one where visitors would leave an item of significance in exchange for something once left by someone else. Each of you took part in the time-honored tradition of the locale of taking something and leaving something of similar value. Seeker found a new pair of boots and left something very dear to him, once gifted by an old friend.
Oh, yeah.
And Kelek found something ephemeral, pitted and worn, with its luster somewhat diminished, but under his care, it quickly returned to its former glory, and its true nature was revealed. But eventually, the travails of the road caught up with each of you. You said goodnight to Griff, parted ways, for now, with Brim, and headed up to bed. And as the last day of the long eve came to a close, a prayer was sent up to the light, and an omen was returned. So, we come back to the evening, as each of you begin your preparations going into bed, each of you engaging in whatever nightly rituals you have. I would like to ask, is there anything anybody wanted to do before we move on to the morning?
I'll I think I went to bed a little bit earlier, and I probably would have just been cleaning up and kind of getting things situated. Put my backpack to the side. Remember that I have some things to do because this is the last night of the long eve.
Correct. Tomorrow is the first day of Famiris and the Everdawn.
Yeah. So I'll dig through.
Just that.
One of the first things I'll do is I'll kind of get situated for bed. I'll get ready and I'll go through my books and my bag, and I will kind of flip through them. And as I do, I'll kind of look at each one, looking for a certain one, and I'll pause on Artemisia's spellbook, and I'll almost pull it out.
Okay.
And I'll look at my right hand that's going to pull it out, and I'll also notice the tattoos, and I'll go to pull on it, and I'll notice the new tattoo that I have, and I'll kind of hesitate, slide it back in to the bag, and keep flipping through, and I'll find my notebook that I've been using to draw and do all my drawings that Thessaly's been helping with, and I'll take that out, and I will set it on the nightstand or the whatever stand next to the bed.
Okay.
And then I will get into bed and get ready, and almost go to sleep, but then remember and jump out of bed and go back into my backpack and grab the little candle that I've been carrying around this whole time. I'll kind of sit on my bed and kind of rub it a little bit. And for the first time, I will go to do I have a windowsill at all?
Yeah.
I'll go to the windowsill and I'll maybe find like a saucer or something that I can put the candle, set it up, and I will set it next to the windowsill. And for the first time, I will rub my fingers together, produce some green flame, and I will light the candle. And I will kind of look at it and smile and look out into the distance of the landscape, and then head to bed. If I could, planning to wake up early. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, of course.
And then I will head to bed,
All right.
As I kind of like watch the candle and let it like lull me to sleep.
Yeah, you kind of sit there in bed, you're turned on your side, you look at the candle as like slowly kind of your eyes just like gently fall closed. And right like as you're looking at the candle, you see just out the window the slightest change in the sky from the deep black to a very deep blue. as you see the first approach of the Everdawn, and you fall asleep with the candle in the window. You all fall asleep in your various rooms. An uneventful evening passes. It's quiet.
No nightmares.
No nightmares.
Thank God.
Nothing bump in the night. You all,
For once.
for once, you all gain the benefits of a long rest.
Yay.
So you may recover all your hit points, your spell slots, all the things
Amazing.
as you prepare for the new day.
Yay.
Huzzah! So, in the morning,
Sunlight.
in the morning, you all kind of come to consciousness at different times. You said you specifically wanted to wake up early?
Yeah, if I could.
Yeah. I'll say that, I mean, if you wish to, you're able to wake up a little bit ahead of time.
Cool.
I also want to wake up early, but you
Okay.
do a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, if I could, I'd like to wake up and I'll kind of yawn and get ready and stretch, and I'll go to the windowsill and collect my, I'm assuming fully melted now, candle that has helped me through the long.
It's like, God, just the tiniest, when you wake up in the morning, it's got like, it's just barely flickering at the edge, like maybe another hour or two and it would go out.
I'll just look at it and smile, knowing that it kind of got me through the last night of the long eve, and just remember the tradition that it brings of hope. Kind of just fills me with warmth, and I will go to my nightstand and I will grab my drawing utensils and tools, and I would like to go downstairs into the lobby area with all the knickknacks and trinkets, and I'd like to just find a good corner and just sit there for like an hour or two and just draw it. Draw the whole room from that perspective.
Okay. All right. I would like you to go ahead and, if you're taking a good amount of time for this, so go ahead and roll a dexterity check, add your proficiency modifier, thanks to Thessaly's training, and you can do so at advantage.
Okay, so Dex mod plus
proficiency.
Damn. Okay. Oh, good thing I have
Training and tools.
that. Okay, so that's plus Dex plus proficiency at advantage. Yeah, so 18.
Cool. Yeah, as you sit there in the corner, you sort of begin sketching the room itself, and you manage to kind of achieve like the depth and the perception of the room. You capture a lot of the different oddities and curios and things like that. When you get down there in the morning, you notice Rosie's already awake. She is basically like, you see her, she keeps kind of coming in and out of the kitchen. And like you can smell through your time drawing as you sit there in that common room, like smells start to waft over you, and you start to smell like really like rich, just like basically a cacophony of cooking aromas, like sweet and savory and all this different mix. And you see Rosie's like got her hair done up, she's kind of sweating a little bit. She's got an apron that's like covered in flour, and she's just like kind of very quickly running back and forth.
I will resist the urge, even though my belly probably starts grumbling at some point, knowing who she is.
Yeah.
I will let her finish before I bug her to get a bite.
Okay,
and I'll continue writing. And at some point, whenever I'm done drawing, I would like to maybe just go do a once around, if I could.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I'll look up and I'll notice the chalice or mug.
Yeah, it's a chalice, like a goblet.
Yeah,
is what it is.
I'll notice the goblet, and I'd like to maybe just, while still everyone's kind of rousing from their slumber, I'll do a walk through one more time to see if there's anything interesting that piques my eye at all.
As you walk through, you see like a bevy of different things. You see like little, daggers and letter openers and like what looks like corks. Like there's it's almost like bottle corks. You see like empty bottles. You see what looks like a little basically an old style buoy, like a glass orb caught up in a fisherman's net that appears to be like sitting there. You see, what type of thing are you looking for? Let me ask you that.
Something comparable to the chalice, like something that like might be interesting and odd that is similar to that.
Okay.
Basically, I look at the chalice and I basically like I like kind of take a minute and pause on it, but I'm just like, let me just do one more run around and see.
As you look around, you see two things that catch your attention that are kind of like, that give you kind of just like a similar vibe. One appears to be it's like a very ornate sort of silver bowl with then like a glass orb and then that long sort of fluted glass top. It looks like some sort of like a candle that you would hold, like a lantern kind of. But you know those things, I don't know what they're called.
I know what you mean.
That thing that you carry a candle in. And then you also see what appears to be just like a small, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, jeez, it totally left my brain.
Describe it.
It's like it's not one, but it kind of looks like a genie lamp, like a little like urn or something like that.
What is that called?
Like it? Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but
isn't it like an oil lamp?
Yeah, it looks like something that oil would hold or something like that. So, but it's like it's made from brass, and it's kind of like it's got like a little spigot on it, and it looks like, for lack of a better word, nice. And then you also see something else that I think catches your attention, which is like a bright like top. It's like a children's toy, like a top. It's just got like multiple banded stripes of color on it, and it's just kind of laying on its side.
I'll go up and I'll inspect them. So I'll go up to the candle candelier. Is that what they're called? I don't know.
The candelabra,
like whatever the candle holder is, and I'll pick it up. I'll look at it. I'll feel it, and I'll see if it. I'm looking for magic, and anything magical that pops off of it. I know that I think Seeker looked around.
Yeah, looked around.
I'll see if there's anything like that on these items. I'll pick it up and I'll feel it. I'll look at it and I'll try and like force magic through. I don't know. As you go to
feel for anything, they just seem mundane. They're just mundane items.
After I kind of move my way through, I'll get to the urn, and then I'll kind of like look up at the chalice again, and I'll kind of smirk and smile, and I'll go up to it, and I'll go into my bag, and I'll pick up the mannequin hand, and I will. It's a new day, so I will speak into it, and I'll press the button to speak into it, and retrieve the chalice, and I will let it do its thing.
It runs up the wall, grabs the chalice, does the same kind of weird thing where it flips it onto its palm and then comes down, and it sort of sits on the ground and presents itself to you.
I will pick up the chalice, smile, and then look back up. And look back down at the hand, pick it up, try and... Rosie?
Yes, dear?
Okay, so I'm not... I really want to switch. I want to trade, but short.
She walks over. She walks over. She's like, no, I appreciate it. And she walks over and she grabs the thing from you. Even her, she's a what's the word I'm looking for? She's a broad woman. Like she's quite tall. And she's able to sort of reach up and put it up there on her tippy toes.
Is that
good enough?
Good.
At which point, you hear the door like kicks open. And you see walking in, thumbs kind of hooked in to what looks like a pair of overalls. You see a small figure, gnome, older female, at least presents as female, older gnome female. She's got, like I said, like dirt-worn coveralls that are, again, she's got her thumbs hooked into it, what looks like kind of a patterned shirt of some kind underneath, wide straw-brimmed hat. And she walks in and you can see there's like a collection of figures behind her. You see what look like a group of young kids, like probably 7 or 8, that are all wearing what look like simple robes. They vary in age from like as young as 5 or 6 up to probably 14, 15 or something like that. Like they span the gamut. And most are human. There are a few that are not. You see a lavender-skinned tiefling girl. She has almond-shaped hazel eyes, and she's kind of like smiling slightly to herself. She has curly auburn hair that goes down to the shoulders, and you see these 2 sort of accompanying curling horns that have all these sort of intricate carvings made into them. And you see that there are ribbons all in them in shades of like yellow and gold. And silver, bunch of different like ribbons that are all tied up in her horns. You also see what appears to be a young, sandy blonde furred, covered in dark rosettes, reminiscent of a leopard. You see like feline eyes of a piercing shade of blue, and tufts of ears that are tipped, like little ears that are tufted up. As you see a young tabaxi, that both walk in with this group of mixed matched other humans. And the gnomish woman, she's like, all right, Rosie, what we got to do, love? And she comes in and she's like, I've got some hands for us. Just point us in the right direction, yeah? And Rosie's like, okay, come on in. She's like, her hands are already dirty. And the kids have come in and they've got like baskets of fruit and different things that they've got going on. But they come in and they go up to like all the kids walk sort of back towards the kitchen and start dropping these things. And Rosie just starts like ordering people around. She's like, you go over there. She's like, I need those in the back. And she just like starts ordering all these kids around. And it kind of immediately erupts into a little bit of controlled chaos as all these kids start running around. At which point, everybody upstairs, you start to hear this like commotion. And as you wake up, you all awaken to the smells of cooking. I will say that Thessaly awakes probably a few minutes before this, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I have to wake up pretty darn early to beat Rosie then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It is. She's got a lot to do today.
No, but she does.
Yeah, big day.
Yeah.
I mean, every day I feel like Rosie has a lot to do.
She's
seems like someone,
she keeps long hours.
So realizing that as I go down the stairs and I'm guessing I see an already awake Flynn fellow weave.
Yeah, in the corner,
and I'm just like, I overslept. And so I am going to try to, if she's already awake, then I will seek Rosie out. I was going to try to do it without her noticing, but
Gotcha.
I'm not seeker, so I'm not going to try to sneak.
So yeah, I'll say that. So basically right after like all this kind of happens, you come down, everything kind of erupts into chaos, but there is like a moment as she's like ordering between people where she kind of rests her hands on her hips and takes a deep breath. And there's like a moment of quiet where you can she doesn't look like she's engaged in something immediate. So you can approach her.
Madam, how would you?
Rosie's fine,
Rosie's
dear.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm not good at saying thank you with words, so I just thought that this I thought you should have this, and I will take the drawing that I made last night and fully like inked and colored, and I will have like rolled it up in like scroll style and just tied it off with a very simple string. I'd been hoping to like slip it into an apron but I just like very like shyly like just sort of hand it to her and like don't make eye contact.
Okay. She as you hand it to her, she takes it, she opens it, and she looks at it. And there's just like her face is kind of unreadable for a second as she looks down, and you can see her like eyes kind of drinking in the details, and then you see kind of her lower lip start to quiver a little bit as she
Olma seemed very special to you, and I thought there was a beautiful moment.
She interrupts, like you get cut off, and she just grabs you in a hug.
Oh, how like what? Like is she shorter
She's
than
shorter
I am?
than you, yeah.
She just eyes wide and like slowly hands just awkward pat because I'm not good with physical affection, but I let her hug me as long as she wants.
And she steps back and she goes,
Of course, I'm so sorry I didn't have a frame on me. Normally I would have the resources.
There's bound to be one in here somewhere.
Certainly.
In fact, and she sort of thinks, and then she kind of starts wandering off, like she remembers one immediately.
I will take that as kind of like a cue to I will sneakily goodbye it. I don't do well with
Yeah, absolutely. So you're able to kind of like, as she gets distracted with finding a frame for the gift that you have given her, she does turn around one more time and thank you, dear.
Of course. Olma really loves you, and that's very important to me.
I love her too.
Good. I'll go find Flynn.
Awesome.
Good morning.
Go for Flynn.
Good morning, Flynn. Why are you up so early?
Oh, well, and I'll actually go back in. I'll run over to my book and I'll grab it and I'll open it up to a few pages and I'll actually open up to the last page and I'll rip that out and I'll fold it up and I'll put it in my pocket and I'll shut the book again and I'll go over to Thessaly. Well, so this is one of the traditions that you've been helping me with. It's the Dwarvish tradition, and at the end of the tradition, you're supposed to present the skills that you procured over the long eve. And so, here, and I'll hand Thessaly the book of drawings that I've spent the last week or so on.
Awesome.
So this is my presentation to you, teacher. Thank you so much for teaching me your wisdom and your skills, and hopefully I've done it well. Happy long eve.
Flynn, you're giving me this whole book of drawing?
Well, it's not a lot of drawings. I mean, I only had like a few days, but yeah, that's the whole point of the tradition is you teach me and then I show you what I've learned over the long eve.
I will very eagerly flip through this. What do I see?
I mean, so you see drawings of, I'm sure there's like, it probably ranges from something simple to intricate depending on how long it's been, but there's drawings of the party members, probably crude and the eyes are off. And some of the drawings of us in the cart, there's drawings of us sitting around campfires. And there's probably been moments when I've woken up and I've not really woken anyone up. I've just kind of like woken up for a bit and maybe sketched, a bird in the sky or something like that. And just like little moments of everywhere. And
you
then
specifically, sorry.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you specifically drew the void most recently.
That one I ripped out.
Yeah, that one. That's the one.
That's why you ripped out. Okay.
So basically, at the last 2 pages, there's one page that's ripped. You can, if you look close enough, you can see a rip in the page. But then the last picture is a picture of the inn that we're staying in currently. And if there is a window in the lobby area, the sun is shining through the window, and I'm trying. Hopefully, I don't know if I did it right, but I mean, because we haven't really seen sun in a while, so I tried to get the rays. Did I do that justice?
You did so well. You have come flipping from the beginning of the book and remembering what we started with.
Yeah.
You have really cultivated a talent here. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Memory serves, there's a drawing of Thessaly in the cart in there, isn't there?
Yeah, in the cart, in the wagon.
Before you got into, right before you got into Sunplume.
Right.
Or, right before you met Brim.
There's probably a drawing of Brim in there too.
Yeah. See a bunch.
These are... I think... I mean, if you want me to keep the book and that's part of the tradition,
That's
I think
tradition. You have to keep
then
it.
Then I absolutely will.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I will cherish it, but I think it's something you should keep up with if you like it.
Of course. I mean, I get another book, but yeah, this is the one for you. So, thank you.
And I kind of like don't know what to do with myself for a minute, and so I just kind of reach out, and I probably do it too hard. And I'm not gonna pat you on the head. I'm gonna, because I know you don't like that, so I'm gonna pat you on the back. And I'm gonna, you did good.
Thank you.
Very good. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was really hard, but thank you. You're
Sorry,
strong.
I don't.
It's fine.
Rosie just hugged me, and I.
Yeah, you seem to really take that well. You want to talk about that? Or?
Talk about what, Flynn?
Nothing.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
Haven't the faintest idea what.
Do you want to smell the chalice?
Yeah.
I traded for it.
I think that thing and I should probably have a very interspersed relationship.
Fair enough. And I will look at it, and then there's water in it.
Yeah. It's like foaming.
I go to put it in my souvenir bag, but then I like stop, and I'm like, I'm gonna try and pour. Is it, if I tip it, does it pour?
No.
No?
Whoa.
Look at that, Thessaly.
It doesn't.
Cool.
That's cool.
The foam,
All
like, the
right.
foam almost, so like when you go to, like basically the foam, like it doesn't stay level, it like shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's like if you were to look at it, like the cup, it's half empty and then the foam like sticks to the side as if like something is keeping it there, but then also like, it's weird. It kind of shifts around in there without ever actually going anywhere.
I guess I don't have to worry about it spilling in my bag.
You should show Seeker that it doesn't spill, because he'll do his whole magic is so cool thing, and then he'll get all excited and make him smile.
Yeah. I'm hungry.
Right. I think Rosie was cooking, but
All right, I will put it in the bag, and I will. Well, okay, and cherish it. Okay, bye. And I'll run over to the Rosie to see if I can maybe help or get some kind of meal if it's ready or not.
go with him.
Yeah, she goes, if you want to help, you're going to have to eat on your feet. And she like pulls you back into the kitchen and gives you a little something to eat. As we go upstairs to the rest of the group, you all awaken to a bustle of activity, like sort of dimly, you can hear like the voices as you hear like this small, this different voice, and you hear like lots of different competing voices, and Rosie's kind of as a through line of it all, just kind of telling people where to go, and it's all like food based. It's like, no, that's for the pastries, that's for the, like, it's like, does someone have the glitter? And like, she's just hollering about different things that she has requested and that have been brought. But yeah, as you awaken in your room, that is kind of what you awaken to, and the smell of like just wonderful cooking. Like, you smell a mix of like cookies and pastries and like breakfast. So whoever I'll say the three of you kind of roughly wake up at the same time, and you're free to. The day's yours, so you're free to.
I mean, I would just have headed down the stairs.
Awesome.
And if you'll allow it, DM,
Yeah.
I would have liked with a little bit of a modification on a cantrip, but I would have liked to have cast light on my robes, but just so much that it just gives a soft glow. It's not 20 feet of bright light, but just a glimmer.
You can, yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, you can do that. Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. Like cantrips are cantrips. Like you can do what you want with them a little bit. So yeah, and you put on like your full vestments and everything.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
What do those for me? What do those look like for Kellic?
I mean, so I've been wearing effectively what were the robes of a cleric of Famir, but they have been very much worn, tarnished, and for the entire time that we've been on this journey, they have not been well kept. But when I come down the stairs, I have cast mending on them. I have really done my best to get them in shape. I've washed them, of course, and done the best I could to make them as radiant as possible.
Awesome. And yeah, with the use of spellcraft and of course care and time and consideration, Kellic probably wakes up a little earlier than everybody else and spends a good like 30, or not everybody else, but wakes up and then spends like 30 minutes like really going through it.
And there's sort of an angular mantle kind of in a V shape, and it's got sort of a high collar that has probably not been very sturdy
or whatever. Yeah.
But today it is.
Awesome.
It is firmly, sturdily present. Yeah.
I'll say that Kellic is the first to come down the stairs, or of the three remaining upstairs. And Thessaly, because Flynn is kind of back in the kitchen when he comes down, you see him come down the stairs, and yeah, there's like a soft sort of glow emanating from very clean robes that you recognize as his vestments, but just they've been greatly improved. But yeah,
The nines.
You look different. What do you look?
Clean. It's been a bit of a rough road. I've always tried to keep it up, but I felt compelled this morning.
Sorry, I feel like that was supposed to be a compliment, and it came out as though I was.
No, listen. Far be it for me to take that in the way you did not mean it.
Did you sleep okay?
It's getting better.
All right. Do you think you don't have to be afraid to knock on my door? Like you don't have to. Oh my god.
Are you sure?
Do I say things that I'm not sure of?
I suppose you don't. I just don't want to, intrude, I suppose, on your privacy.
Yes, but I'm offering, and I hate the thought of you just not getting a good night's sleep because of something that, if just sleeping in the same room as someone else is going to help with that, then fine. Happily.
That'd be nice. I'll not refrain from knocking on your door.
Good. So I'm thinking, I want to find Seeker because I know he had a tradition he wanted us all to participate
I
in.
also have a bit of a thing for when the others are up.
Oh, okay. Flynn's in the kitchen, which I wanted to ask you about. Does he normally do things in the kitchen?
Not that I'm aware of.
Should we be concerned?
Flynn, not there. Amazing.
Right. Just normal. You know, he showed me his sketchbook that he worked on all throughout the long eve. I was, tutoring him. And
Right.
He did so well.
That's lovely.
He really look, and I'm gonna show Kellic the specifically like the last one that you did, like the rays of sunlight coming in and the
In the inn with all the
In the inn,
knickknacks
yeah.
and all that, yeah.
look at the detail.
Wow. Yeah, I remember his rendering of James the Fisherman. It's pretty good, but this is quite a bit better.
He's really been improving, and I won't show you the earlier things, for propriety, because I feel like he might. I don't want to embarrass him.
Yeah,
just
it
for
works
me,
in
for that one.
progress. Yeah, you don't want to.
But no, he's just. I've never had a student before. It's really
But it
exciting.
seems like you're a good teacher, Leslie.
A good teacher. I'd never thought.
Why
What
not?
to do with that?
Does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me. It's just something to think about.
Do you think you'd like to be a teacher?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about what I would
Anything
like
besides
to be.
what we're doing here?
Anything that doesn't
know.
involve these, and I tap the swords. I mean, do you know what you... After the agents of repair the world, are you going to... You talked about going back to the temple.
Suppose I'd like to. It was all I knew for the longest time. And then I lost it, and I thought my life was over. And then I found all of you. So I don't know. I'd just like to keep doing good things, I guess, in the best way that I can, which might mean more of this. Maybe, well, I guess we'll see.
Maybe just keep it simple. Do good things.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's a pretty good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Maybe-
As we, sorry.
No, I was just saying, maybe we should make sure Flynn doesn't burn down the kitchen.
I think he's fine.
As we go back upstairs to Seeker and Olma, what are you both doing with your morning? Olma, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I feel the sun from the window touch my face, and that's what wakes me.
Yeah, like the light.
yeah.
The sun hasn't quite risen, but you see light.
Yes.
And it's like that sort of dark blue fading to like that
Yeah.
light blue right at the edge of the mountains. And you can just, as you wake up, you're just starting to see these faint sort of swirls almost of color. You're almost not sure if they're your imagination or not, but you
Yeah.
see them.
And I hear the noises downstairs, and I look out the window to just kind of watch the sky get brighter and more light and the darkness go away. And I cross my legs and I sit up in bed, and I want to spend some time just thinking about what has happened over the long eve and from the last long eve, and how different my life looks now than it did last long eve. Another year has passed, and knowing that, this used to be the day that I celebrated my birthday, and this used to be kind of a milestone, and to now be here and know that this is no longer a milestone, and kind of the sadness of where I am again, knowing I've left this place and now I'm back here, and the anticipation of knowing more, and just the deep sadness of knowing my family isn't around anymore, not even existing out there somewhere in the world for me to find, but doesn't exist anymore. I'm just going to be sitting with that, and I want to close my eyes for a little bit and then try to meditate, and just brace myself for the day ahead.
As you sit, the memories kind of coming back to you, even just a short time ago, the glass statues, the feeling, reflecting on everything that has happened to you in the last year. Everything from cold crest and washing up on the shore of a river, going to the Underdark, going back and forth amongst war fronts, getting friends, losing them. And in that space, as you kind of let those feelings wash over you, you close your eyes and you start to try to meditate, starting with your breath. You breathe. Go and make a wisdom check for me.
11.
And you find a kind of stillness. The almost in a way where you let that all of that wash over you, and then it's up to you whether or not you kind of let it affect you. You kind of find that stillness, that space where maybe you can separate from the things you're feeling versus you. And if you so choose, or you can let it wash over you and accept it, and you kind of find that moment of the space between the thoughts and the feelings or the reaction of whatever is inside of you. And then you kind of feel that space. And once you eventually open your eyes, you see the sky is just a little bit lighter. And I'm curious to know, how does Olma let that kind of wash over her? Or does she choose?
Yeah, she lets the feelings, like her thoughts, fall away as she feels everything.
And you kind of let it almost like ride the current of that. Mm-hmm. And in that, you also find a bit of stillness. If you choose. As you, maybe for the first time, like stop fighting and let it go.
I get up and I get dressed for the day.
Thinking about the anticipation, the people you're going to meet, people you're going to see once again, you get dressed and you head downstairs.
And I open the door, and as I start to step, my hand stays on the doorknob for a little bit. And I pull my hand back and I lift up my hood. And I step out with my hood up.
Okay. All right. Seeker.
When I woke up, I sat in the middle of the floor and I started to think about my family and take off my old boots and start to put on my new boots. And as I'm putting on my left boot, thinking about my mother, my father, grandmother. And when I put on my right boot, I started thinking about Kellic and Des and Flynn and Olma, and just smile and say out loud, as I reach up and grab my chest, "Sen no," and I touch myself and I go invisible.
Okay.
And I head downstairs, and when I head downstairs, I want to get a vantage point where I can just see them and watch what they're doing. The AOR.
Okay. You find your way downstairs and kind of put yourself in a position kind of just actually by the stairs. The stairs are kind of like they're off kind of in a corner of the room. They sort of lead up and around and lead up to the secondary floor where a lot of the rooms are. And from that vantage point, kind of tucked back into a corner, you can see this spectacle of the inn laid out before you, the curiosities, the trinkets, and you can see in each of the windows as the light begins to sort of brighten. You see Thessaly and Kellic engaged in conversation. At some point during that, you two hear as Flynn is just the doors swing open and he's sweating and he's covered with stuff. And Rosie just goes, "Maybe you'd best be out here, dear." Are you sure? Thank you for your help. He just gently pushes you out, prods you. He looks very, and and eventually you go and join up with Thessaly and Kellic. So as you come downstairs, you see just the three of them, but not Olma.
When they get together, Flynn would hear in his ear, did Kellic, does he look fancy? What is that?
I'll look to Kelly. Does he still look glowy?
Oh yeah, still glowing.
Yeah, he looks clean.
Just.
Where are you? I'll look around.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Flynn?
No.
Huh?
Who are you talking to?
Seeker did the thing.
Oh.
Thought I recognized that look in your eye.
Yeah.
You'll feel, Kelly, you'll feel a tug on your robe.
Oh, Emma, what the hell?
And I just sit down next to him and I keep my hand on his robe.
All right. As soon as Seeker gets here, there's something I'd like to talk to you all about.
We need all of us?
I'd like to. Yes.
Okay.
It's not a big thing. It's small.
At that, I'll go sit down next to you and nudge you and drop invisibility.
There you are.
Seeker.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How
Nice
about you?
boots.
Good morning.
Really nice boots.
Yeah.
Sorry, just for curiosity, give me a stealth check at advantage.
Yeah.
Just want to see how unsettling this is when he sits down next to you.
So it's gonna be a 23.
Nice. All right.
What's your passive?
20.
Oh, so
So yeah, the only sign you feel of his presence is when he jabs you, which is awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
So, it's a bit of a tradition for worshippers of Famir to give gifts on the Everdawn to the people that mean most to them. Naturally, I haven't really had time to go shopping, but I do have some things. The gifts are supposed to have some kind of symbolic significance. So I think I've done all right on that front. So for Olma, I have these, and I reach into my bag and I pull out the blue mushrooms I picked up on the in the forest of the Raging Woods. Because, well, even when things keep you in darkness and force you into horrible places, you still find a way to grow. And so I think these mushrooms, if you want to make a potion with them, I understand they could might have a magical benefit, turn you into something. It will make you harder to see and hit, and it may maybe keep you safe. But you're the potion master. I'll leave you to that.
And I stick my hand outside of my robe. And so you just
Hand appeared.
Thank you, Kellic. That's very nice of you.
It's not much, but yeah. Seeker, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, so I'll try to explain. And I reach into my bag and I pull out an old strip of bandage, and it's something that has been reused and washed and reused to the point where you can see that it has been bloody multiple times, but it's clean now, but it's pink as a result from the use. And because, well, you mend wounds, Seeker, but you never forget the pain, and that means a lot to me. I think when we first met, I was so grateful to just have another adult to talk to, and also the way that, well, I think you and I have not so dissimilar backgrounds. You remember things, and so does this. And maybe, I don't know, I think you could use it for your braid if you like.
Thank you. And I'll take it, and I'll actually start to pull out some of the other strands that I have and start to lay them on the table. Thank you.
Flynn, and I pull out this time a sort of tarnished gold chain, and it is the previous. If you were to look closely, you would recognize it as the somewhat burnt, warped chain that used to be attached to the tri-ring symbol that is now in my hand. For all that we've been through, Flynn, you and I are bound. You and I are connected, just like this. And, well, I think we shall be forevermore. So, don't think that a day goes by that I discount that. The way that we are connected, and the way that that connection makes us strong.
Yeah.
And, Tessely, and I pull out the mirror that I pulled off of Rosie's shelves. I know you're not the most schooled in religions, and I hope this isn't something of offense, but reflection is one of the main sort of principles of Vermeer, and it's basically the most important part. That's why everything has to be so shiny. And you force me to see myself in a way that no one else ever has. And you make me see the parts of me that I'd rather not look at, and the parts of me that I forgot that I had that I quite like. And, well, the value of that can't be overstated. So I hope you can use this to give you the same kind of help that you've given me.
I take it like really hesitantly, just very gingerly hold it between my hands. Gonna be a mirror?
Yeah. Hey.
Thank you. I can't remember the last time someone got me a gift.
That's a shame.
I'll put it to good use, I guess.
No need, maybe you don't even have to use it, but it could be a useful reminder.
Oh, no, well, you gave it to me, so it's important, so I should use it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been a bit of time before we've had a chance to even think about anything. We've been on the run through so many challenges recently. So the Everdawn is an opportunity for us to take a moment. You all have saved me life, and not just on the battlefield. So thank you for that.
Do when you get the mirror, do they look at it like when you take it? You just
No.
Are they looking at Kellic or?
I'm looking at Kellic the whole time. I do not look into the mirror.
As you take it, and the exchange of the gifts all happens, and you give things out to everybody who all sort of share that moment. And at which point you hear a voice, and it comes from the small gnomish woman. She's like, right, well, as long as you're all sitting there, you might as well make yourselves useful. Come on over. And she, at this point, she's like, and she kind of calls to you across the way. Olma, you recognize Lydia Greenleaf, the small gnomish woman who is in charge of the farm and food production for the most part here in Oakengate. She's like, we've got plenty to carry and not that many hands, so come on over. And there's just at this point you can see now, as you guys have been doing this exchange, baskets and pots and various, basically food has all been being put out onto the counter here inside of the inn. It looks like a combination of things that were made this morning, things that were made yesterday. In fact, Olma, last night while you were in there was a lot of prep work that was being done into today. And you just see all of these. You will also see all of the this mix of children. Olma, you would recognize them all as novices.
Yeah.
Of varying ages. There's none that you recognize. It's been a few years since you've been here, and probably most of the other novices, a lot of the older novices, have moved on to full-blown monks at this point.
I scoot closer to Kellic, though.
Yeah. All right. So you kind of feel her scoot a little closer to you. But Lydia she's like, as long as you're sitting there, make yourselves useful. Come.
Before we walk over, can I this? So I tried to braid this, and if you look at it, it's supposed to be like a 3-chord braid, and it's basically just rolled together.
And let me. Do you want me to fix it?
I mean, I think it looks good, but it's not what my mom.
Oh,
what my mother
Targa, no, it's
did.
Oh,
Could-
you
could make
tried.
it-
You really did. So let me
Could you make it look
Yes,
better?
and as someone adept at this, I will go ahead and correct that.
All right,
But here,
awesome.
put this one in too. The
No,
one that.
right. Oh,
that-
put Kix. Yes.
So you fold the bandage in, and unless there was anything else that wanted to accompany this, I want to make sure to give that the breath it deserves.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was beautiful and made my heart happy. But you get this voice, and as you guys walk over, unless you refuse, do you guys go in and help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Awesome.
for sure.
Over.
Guys, listen, it's a lot of work in there.
Yeah.
Just prepare yourself.
You see a variety of things. You see, at which point Rosie also says, she's like, yes, we need to hurry. We're gonna miss the lantern lighting ceremony. Let's go. And basically, like all this stuff starts to get gathered up, and you see a bunch of different things. You see like these small pastries. You can see they're filled with a variety of like very brightly colored jams, and over the top of it, there's like a very sparkly, basically like edible glitter that is on the top of everything, and
Snap.
shades of like
Yeah.
silver and gold.
Nom, nom.
You see a big pots of what looks like a clear, and it's got that like luminescent quality, like a soup that has brightly scaled like silver fish in it. The scale's still left on, and it's got that sort of scintillating quality on the top, so it almost sort of reflects light. You see a like big golden round, like perfectly baked loaves of bread. That are just, again, sort of like round, and on each of them is sort of in that way that is, there's, you know how like you cut the tops of bread and you can give scoring, thank you. It is scored with symbols of the sun on all of them.
Oh.
And you see lots of pies, the different types, different sizes. Some are mini, some are bigger, but they're all also scored to look like stars. And then you see like basically big barrel casks that you don't see what's in those, but you see all this different kinds of food. All of them have this theme of like brightness, or there's some element of sun symbolism or star symbolism. All Kellic, you would recognize symbolism that it has to do with Famir, and familiar. Some of these things are familiar to you. Some of these things might be regional, that
Sure.
are a little bit different,
Yeah.
but all of them do appear to be, sort of just different types of food that appear to be baked or made specifically for this day. Olma, I think maybe you probably, some of these were shared in the inn, but never in this quantity while you were here.
Ooh.
Which is kind of, and when she says like the lantern lighting ceremony, like that is new to Olma. And basically all these novices gather up, baskets and things like that, and different casks, and everybody sort of just heads out of the inn and makes their way into town. You all sort of walk through, and as you exit the inn, you can feel the cool, like the very crisp, cold morning air. You see your breath steam as soon as you walk out, and in the east, you see the lightning of the sky, and you all start to see those sort of very faint, like almost like tendrils of color, and like this sort of, again, very sort of scintillating, undulating quality right at the ridgeline of the peaks to the east.
Cool.
Make your way into town, and Rosie kind of leads the way along with Lydia, who still has her thumbs hooked into her little overalls, and she walks very quickly, though. Like, she keeps stride with Rosie. She's
Not
got, like,
carrying anything.
Nope.
That bitch.
damn thing. And she walks into, you all walk into sort of towards the center of town, following the flow of the rest of these people. And as you get there, you can see the town. You see several hundred people that are all gathered around the center, which is a generous term for Okinki Village, which is more just kind of like an open expanse of grass than it is any real like town center. There's no major identifying structures or anything like that. There's just like a big open grassy area with like a slight rise in the middle, and you see a very sort of like low wooden platform that is sitting there. And as you guys approach, you see that almost everybody is holding these paper lanterns, and they're all lit with candles. You see on the wooden platform a variety of figures that are all sort of like arrayed out. You see a sort of a middle-aged human male, shaved head, well-groomed, sort of long, like goatee beard, lean, muscular build from this distance, like very piercing blue eyes, his body is covered in intricate tattoos that look like sort of like wings and various what could only be described as celestial looking, like wings and sort of light, and you see like creatures that would normally be associated with celestial qualities. Like there's a unicorn and a Quetzalcoatl, and these sorts of different like creatures associated with what would be considered celestials.
Right.
And on his shoulder, you see perched a little capuchin monkey that is just sort of sitting on here. You recognize Brother Jin. You see a beautiful, with like sort of flowing silver hair done up in an intricate braid, simple, elegant robes that are loose and fit for movement, hands and feet adorned with delicate silver jewelry. You see an elvish woman, very calm, very sort of her like hands tucked into her own sleeves, and you recognize Sister Liara. You see a stout, wide dwarf with a thick braided beard and a shaved head. His body also covered in intricate geometric tattoos. He wears like deep browns and earth robes, and you, Olma, recognize Brother Kalar. You see a towering human male, short cropped dark hair, sort of deep brown skin, chiseled jawline. You see beautiful plate mail armor, and emblazoned on the chest, you see the same symbol that Seeker carries on his arm, the Seeker of Laurus, or the symbol of Laurus.
Oh.
This is Brother Tristan. You see a tiefling woman, pale blue skin, curling ram's horns, raven black hair, bright red eyes. And you see like basically faint arcane glyphs and markings that adorn her skin. Sister Solara. And you see towering above all of them a massive, imposing Goliath who has a hammer, big hammer at his belt. He has this sort of stone gray skin, and faint like scars that go up both arms. And he's sort of looking up, not at anything in particular. His eyes just sort of track upwards. And finally you see bowed over an ancient silver dragonborn. Spectacles across the eyes, and he all presides. I shouldn't have said finally, because holding a lantern, sort of at the center, you see a tall, broad human male, short-cropped, dark hair with sort of streaks of gray and white, very firm, sort of facial features, aging probably somewhere in his 50s, but built like a brick shit house. Just like very, very well-defined musculature. He wears sort of big bronze bracers on either of the arms, and you can see his robes are the color of like a deep yellow. And Olma, you recognize Headmaster Danewind.
Oh, Headmaster!
You see scattered throughout the crowd also different types of people. You see actually one thing that would immediately catch Seeker's eye and everybody's. You see a single Warforged who is among the crowd.
Cool.
You see a bright red tiefling. You see one other figure that is up on the wooden platform, but a little bit apart. You see even more ancient than the Silver Dragonborn. You see a squat figure, moss growing out of her back. This sort of drapes down the back like a cloak. And you can see a sort of twisted, gnarling branch held in the hand, and then sort of almost out of her shoulder, like it is hidden amongst the moss, and somewhere you see what looks like a small bonsai tree kind of grows out of the top and sits above the shoulder.
That's awesome.
Okay.
You see a absolutely ancient looking turtle. Who is just sort of sitting, arms folded, the gnarled branch of a staff that has like faint, or not faint, but like vibrant little leaves hanging off of the edge, or like sort of growing out of it. You see Elderthorn Shellbloom. And as you all sort of gather, you are directed to place the sort of on the outskirts of this grassy area. There are tables that have been set up, and you're instructed to like set the things down at different tables. And amongst the sort of sitting there amongst the tables, there are also more lanterns that are sort of set out. There are a few left. And Kellic, you are familiar with this tradition, especially in some rural communities. It is very common to write a prayer to Famir at the return of her light and release it into the sky when the Everdawn breaks. So anybody who would like to partake in this tradition may, if you would like to. I would ask, is anybody going to grab a lantern?
I would.
Okay.
I would.
All right.
I start to release Kellic's robe, but I stop because I don't want to be seen. So I don't release his cloak and I don't grab a lantern.
Could I clock that?
Probably because I start to let go and then I go back to him.
Because I would grab a second lantern if I would notice that impulse.
Yeah.
And I would just like try to like when I begin to write my prayer, I would like kind of sit down in such a way that I could put the second lantern next to me and like provide the materials to write the prayer.
Thank you.
Of course,
I
I sneak the pen and paper inside under my
Your little hand comes
Yeah.
out and just slowly like claws it back in until it's hidden. It makes me so happy. Awesome.
I pocket the braid I was working on for Seeker and trying to like not make sure no one is looking at me. I'm gonna take a lantern. I'm gonna do it. While I do that, I want to scan the crowd. Do I see Brim anywhere?
You do. Yeah,
I do.
He's sort of sitting off. He's towards the wooden platform. He's relatively close. Actually, he would be up there. I'm sorry. I
Oh no,
forgot.
he'd be up there.
He's up on the platform. Yeah, because he is officially.
Right.
He is one of the order.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I
forget.
He's up on a
He would be up there.
platform.
No.
When I see that,
Yeah.
I would like elbow Tarka a little bit and be like,
Would I have noticed Thess take the lantern?
it's gonna be obvious at some point, and I'm not sneaky, so
All right.
what? You don't want to do this?
Uh,
It looks fun. Doesn't have to be a thing.
okay, I'll take one.
I haven't done this in a while. What exactly are we supposed to do?
We send.
Don't know.
Write a message to the gods, or to whomever. I suppose.
Oh, to whoever?
What's appropriate to say?
Supposed to be because the lights come
Whatever's
back.
in your heart.
Ooh,
Well, there's some things.
That's fine. This is the moment of catharsis, release. You're sending your wishes for the future.
Huh.
The things you hope for. It's the return of the light. And we're meeting it by sending our messages up.
They actually get them?
I'm inclined to say yes, but I don't know anymore what to make of anything. But I think I used to give this speech to non-believers. Writing something down, it has power.
It's kind of more for us than them.
Right.
Give it a shot. And I'll go up and I'll grab one.
Why did you elbow me?
look! I think you see someone you might recognize up there.
Oh, is that Brim?
Yes, we all know Brim.
I know. I just think you should make a point of saying hi to him at some point during the festival.
I rub the earring on my left ear and say, "Good morning, Brim."
As you hit the whisper in the ear, his eyes immediately flick over to you. As he very quickly scans the crowd, sees you, and then he sort of smiles. And he
Flynn waving his hand.
Flynn right behind Seeker. You see Brim's eyes kind of like As he acknowledges it, and he kind of like he like lets go of the lantern and just kind of like gives a quick little like, hi.
Official up there.
But he looks at you and he responds.
Yeah.
Because it is message, right?
It is.
Just, good morning, Seeker.
Are you happy? I said hello.
You said, you did the little... I mean, I think that probably made him happy. I don't know how I feel pretty neutral about it.
Does he look happy?
Brim?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's up there. He's got a little smile on. Which goes away after a minute as he schools his features
Gotta be
to
serious.
stillness.
Yeah.
Right, we can do this privately. We don't have to announce what we're writing, right? We can
No, I think it's better if it's private, personally.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to. You think it's better if it's private, actually. At which point, a voice sort of echoes out from the platform as Brother Danewind steps forward with his lantern. A warm Everdawn to you all. Famir's light has once again returned to the world, and in her light we may find peace and harmony. Is a firm voice, very even, very deep. As we go into the new year, let us pay our thanks to the lessons learned. Let us mourn those whose time has come to an end in the long dark. And finally, let us be grateful for new beginnings and for new friends, at which point his eyes flick to all of you. Novices, at which point you see all of the, they all like there's a subtle shift through the crowd as they all snap up.
Yeah.
Actually, he would say novices, and he says it kind of sharply. The day is yours. Avail yourselves of the festivities. For tonight, we return once more to our purpose. But today is a day of plenty and a day of celebration. Enjoy it. And then he turns to the east. And he says, may we all return to the light as the light returns to us. And he lifts the lantern and it slowly begins to ascend into the sky. And right sort of as the lantern begins to ascend upward, you see the east. Those tendrils of color spill out over the mountains as the sun breaks the horizon. And you see this kaleidoscope of beauty. As the light hits, you see this aurora that washes over the sky from the east in silver and gold, bright colors, as the sky sort of like just erupts in a riot of light and color. And you see as the sun crests the horizon and the first rays of dawn hit and wash over all of you. Kellic, in that moment, you feel the medallion against your chest.
Oh, snap.
Warm. You feel it against your skin. And almost something settle around you. Like a weight. But not the oppressive weight of something, rather like the embrace of something. And the lanterns all begin to lift into the sky. I would like to know, in this time, you can take a moment, but what did each of you write onto your piece of paper as it floats into the sky? You can take a minute, but I would be curious to know. Don't have to say specifically, just the gist. Seeker.
I probably would have been mumbling this.
Yeah.
I definitely, dear gods, you suck. Just kidding. Not really. And I do write It has been a weird past few weeks. I miss the light. I don't like the cold. I'm glad the sun's coming back. And for me is important. Even though you didn't make magic specifically. And I am thankful to be warm again.
I hear him say this, I just shake my head.
Amazing.
I am also thankful for these people around me and these new friends here. and please keep them safe.
As your lantern drifts into the air and joins the hundreds of others that slowly begin to ascend, you send your wish, your prayer for the new year skyward and join with the community.
I take a really long time, like probably right up until is appropriate to like send off the lanterns as the light sort of crests from the sky and starts to wash over everybody. And my brow is furrowed and my eyebrows are scrunched, and I'm trying to think of everything that I want to encapsulate in just not a lot of space and concisely. And I sort of like turn the pen over in my hand 1, 2, 3 times. And I think about the last time that I celebrated, like actually celebrated the long eve instead of just acknowledging its passing.
Right.
Which was, it was like 15 years ago. And for the third time that week, just settling on something simple, I will write down the name Salix Gwyn and all the hope that that carries with that. And I will put my lantern into the sky.
Okay. And a name written as your lantern passes into the sky, joins the others.
I'll write just a simple expression. May the love we share in this moment renew us in spirit, or however many dawns remain. And I'll just let it go.
By one, each of you letting go your lanterns, as Kellex also joins with all of the lanterns as they ascend to the sky.
I'll, after kind of like thinking for a moment, thinking of what Kellex told me, that I can kind of like say something to the gods and maybe they'll hear it. I'll think of the past adventures and things that we've done and hardships we've ran into, and I'll just take the piece of paper and just quickly I'll first write, why can't y'all just get along up there? And I'll kind of like shake it off and I'll just put an X through that. And I'll just write, thank you for bringing us Kellex. And I'll fold it up and put it in the lantern and send it off.
And I completely ignore that I'm sending a message to the gods. Send a message that I want to send to people beyond. And I write, Lady Alexandra, thank you for leaving a path for me to follow and for keeping me as safe as you could. Mama, I hope we didn't hurt you and that you're at peace wherever you are. And then I just kind of fold it up. I give it a kiss. And I just put it in my lantern.
As Olma's lantern, I think the last one, rises into the sky. You see these lanterns sort of ascend, like kind of a gust of a wind almost, a mountain air. This swift change in temperature kind of buoys all of them, and they rise very quickly into the sky. And you see as everybody watches them, and you all get this sense of like so everybody's waiting for something. Bated breath. Looking. And as they ascend, they go higher and higher and higher. Still kind of like basically at that transition point where the color meets the blue sky. And as the color washes over them, kind of in a flare, they all vanish.
Wow.
And a cheer. As everybody, the collective voices of 600-700 people in this town, you hear this cheer of joy and exuberance just rise up out of the throats of everybody in this community as they all clap and hug and embrace. And you see all of the people up on the platform. You see as the monks, some of them embrace, some of them just nod politely to one another. This is a sort of different social dynamics at play there.
I sort of look around the group at this and I kind of give them a eyebrows raise, like, pretty good, huh? Kind of a look.
Right. And Kelly, you've heard of this. You've probably seen it before. It doesn't always happen, but every once in a while.
It's nice when it does.
But the sort of, and then kind of almost in a very swift turn, you hear like music start to play. You hear what sounds like a mandolin begin to get strummed out as just like a box drum that people sit on, kind of begins to like play out a beat. And suddenly, kind of like the air, the sort of I don't want to say heaviness, but the sort of reverence of the moment turns to celebration. You see as the people up on the platform begin to sort of break their way off and make their way over to different things. And as you look around, you can actually see there are like areas or things kind of set up. You can see that there's one person, one of the monks up on the stage heads off towards what looks like a roped off, just like long stretch of grass, where in there are like wooden stakes or poles of various heights that are all sort of like ascend. And then in the distance away from it, sort of almost probably about 100 yards or so, you see a large sort of like wooden archway, and then hanging in there, at least it looks like it's hanging from this distance, you see like a bright sort of slightly glowing something. Kind of looks like a little, from this distance it's hard to make out, but like a little warbling star almost that's like sort of sitting in the middle of this archway. You see all the novices sort of immediately run over and start just like shoveling all these little treats and food and things like that into their face.
Yeah.
And you see just, as this scene kind of erupts into celebration. So what do you, as this happens, like activities start kind of going off. You see the thing with like the, what's it called? The stakes. And you see a few other sort of like cordoned off areas where one of the monks sort of goes off and appears to be standing nearby some sort of thing or activity that has been planned for the day. But you all have, here you go. I found it. My notes are very long. You see like a sort of a large like wooden construct, for lack of a better term, that is also kind of cordoned off, and you see like different pegs that are sticking out of like a wooden board that are all sort of like aligned on this construct of wood. And they're all painted in silver and gold. Like everything's painted silver and gold or lacquered. You see another area that is just like straight open grass, and you see from this distance as like some of the kids go over, the novices, and they're all putting on like these bright cloaks, like these cloaks that have this like, again, kind of that what's the word, tinsel kind of like aspect to it, where it looks metallic and shimmery. And they're all wearing these different cloaks as they all sort of like line up one at a time, like squaring off with one another, and they look down the long grass. And then finally off to one side, you also see what appear to be a variety of another large open expanse of grass, and sort of like floating, you see like basically wooden cutouts that appear to have been somehow magically enchanted. They're all surrounded in kind of silver light, and they're just like floating and moving around in this space. But you see all of these kind of like different activities that people kind of run off to, as some people eat and some people, gather together, and they're all, talking and chatting. And this kind of erupts around you guys. And what do you all wish to do with as this scene kind of changes and you have all of these people around that, then you can partake in the celebration or do whatever you wish.
I think the first thing I do is go get food, because Rosie
you
gave me
never
some food.
actually got.
Rosie gave me like a bite, and then I worked that off. Probably. So I'm gonna be like, guys, I'm still hungry. I'm gonna go grab food, but and then we can, I don't know, check it out. Olma, has this happened before? Do you know what's going on?
Nothing this big.
No.
No.
This is wonderful.
It's really cool.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Nice to see. I wonder how they manage it, nestled out here in Caldor, having this big of a festival for Famir.
The old
gods.
right.
Well, they're kind of separate from everywhere
and
up here.
Seems quite powerful, if Brother Brim is any representation.
True.
Yeah, they're all really strong.
Olma, did you want to say hi to anyone in particular?
No.
We
just had to find out about my necklace and fix it.
Right. Should we try to get an audience with Brother Danwint then?
Maybe Brother Brim talked to him and told him what we needed.
I suppose
Wasn't that what he was supposed to do?
touch base with Brother Brim?
Find Brim? Okay.
You don't want to try one of these sort of events, Selma? Some strike your fancy?
Well, maybe we can.
They look fun.
Yeah.
Aye.
Well, I don't want anyone to be in danger because of me.
But I think, I think that this is sort of a danger-free zone right now, since it seems to be so lively and everyone seems so relaxed, and I don't see any of the other monks feeling like they need to be on their guard. So I think that's a pretty good indication that we could just take a couple minutes and have some fun.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A moment.
Not long. It doesn't have to be long, Olma.
Okay. You guys can have fun.
Will you pick? I think you should pick the activity. You know
I don't.
this place best. This is your home.
Yeah, which one should I try first?
Yeah. What do you want to watch? Then
That's a
around
great yes, you should pick Flynn. I like this.
Well-
Yeah. There's that long grass over there, and then there's those floating things. Should I do that one?
Yeah.
The one with the pigs,
It's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
stakes in the
I
ground.
don't know which one would be the most fun. Which one do you think would be the most fun?
I don't know. I've never seen it before.
We're just
Me
looking
either.
at it. Just
We
looking
didn't
at
have any games like this.
Okay, well. What's your best guess?
Maybe you and Flynn can team up.
No,
for the
I don't.
Sparkling thing, the hanging thing.
I don't know if I want to be seen yet.
That's okay. I'm doing it
You
anyway.
can just watch Flynn do it. You get to boss Flynn around.
Okay, well,
Flynn?
you get to boss me around.
I don't need to boss you around right now.
Oh
All
my.
right.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's all right.
All right.
And I just sort of softly put my arm on Olma's shoulder. It's all right, Olma.
Maybe some food first.
Food. Food's
I'm
good.
hungry.
Do you want to go with me and find Brim and see if we can figure out what he said to Dane?
Yes. Yes. And I'll let go of Kellick's robe and I'll grab Seeker's robe.
Okay.
Be safe.
Tell Brim I said hi.
Whatever.
All right.
I guess we get food while they do that.
Yeah, it smells great.
Where's that music coming from? Do you hear?
I mean, it sounds like it's coming from everywhere. And I'll look around and see if there is a source.
Yeah. Yes. So as you look around and you find the source of the music, you find it very quickly. You see a sort of standing, just not like even on a platform. Actually, yeah. They would be going up and sort of taking the place on the wooden platform as the monks have now that were there have dispersed. You see tan-skinned, sort of like obsidian horns curling backwards from her head. You see like bleached white hair. You see a very sort of tan-skinned female tiefling. She has a mandolin, and what you thought was a box drum is actually like behind her, as her heel is connected to like a device that appears to be hitting the drum. So she's both keeping the beat and playing that at the same time. You see, she also has she has two. It's hard to make out, but she has what appear to be two, like not quite snakes. Serpentine-like creatures that are curling up her hands, or her arms rather, and you can see a big smile, slightly fanged smile, bright yellow eyes as you see a tiefling woman who is just jamming out. Very sort of uplifting, upbeat music, hard to place age, definitely adult, but where in there, not too sure. But yeah, you see a tiefling woman who is just jamming out. She's got very bright, there's like a thick white, actually no, she doesn't have so believe it or not, they only have a, there's like no undershirt, like a lot of exposed skin for how cold it is, and like a long, like bright red with lots of like gold inlay, like a very ornate kind of like long vest with like big billowy pants, nice worn leather boots, and what appear to be 2 scimitars that are sheathed in the sides.
That's cool.
And yeah, you see, this is a figure that you do recognize, Olma, Marina Swiftbrook, the resident traveling here again, not there again, tiefling bard who just kind of like who lives at Oakengate, but is very here and there again, like gone for weeks, maybe months at a time, comes back sometimes, but
On the wind.
been a permanent resident of Oakengate for like since you, as far as you heard, like probably the better part of 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, just it always was around, less so as the years got on right before you left.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saw her less and less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the source of the music. Sorry, that's a very long-winded way of saying. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's whoa.
Pretty impressive display.
Yeah.
Quite a
You want
performance.
to go up there and dance? Is that what you were saying?
No.
You just like wanted to know the music was coming from.
I like music. I'm not allowed to like. Let's go get food, Flynn.
I'm just curious if you wanted to get closer.
No, I don't want.
Okay.
God,
Have
just
you
go.
Have you had food yet? Okay, let's go.
Awesome. As Flynn and Thessaly make their way towards the food.
I'll look over to Kellic. You want to come with?
Right. Yeah. Smells good.
All right. Yeah.
Awesome. Kellic, you, as you're wandering through in your vestments, I did forget to mention, you got a lot of looks as you are here in the space.
Yeah.
I would bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people start, like, as you begin to make your way, you see all, like, basically different varieties of figures kind of come up to you and give you, like, just cursory, like, salutations that would be associated with Famir. And just sort of, like, basically are giving Kellic the respect and the adulation due a priest. They appear to, as you look, you are very much in your vestments, and so they give you kind of like the a lot of just like thanks and salutations, and they're happy you're here, it appears. At one point you do see a young lavender skinned tiefling girl who comes up to you and is just like, why are your robes all shiny?
To celebrate the return of the light.
Yeah, but how'd you do it?
Believe it or not, magic.
Cool. Okay, bye. And then just
All
takes
right.
off.
Magic's not cool. It's quite a bit of responsibility.
Takes off running. And you see behind her, you see the young, the tabaxi, who immediately like follows off and follows her. He appears to stand back and just watches you. Doesn't say anything, just like watches.
Just give a little wave, little flickering wave.
His pupils like narrow, and he turns and takes off. Really fast.
Zooming.
Like zooms through the crowd. Yeah. But anyway, so
You all would see though, as these people are coming to me, just be like a very rote, practiced like shaking hands and putting my hand on their shoulders. And, may the light reflect from your eyes. May the light reflect from your eyes. just as I'm like going through making the round. It doesn't seem strange to me at all. Like it's a very easily done thing.
As that's going on and we're walking, at some point when Kellic is maybe distracted with a few people, I'll just kind of catch Desley's glance. I just want to see how she reacts to Kellic's fame.
I'm having a series of complicated emotions are passing my face.
Wouldn't have guessed any otherwise.
Yeah, I kind of just look up to see. Yeah.
I look happy that because it seems to be something that Kellic like enjoys, and I know that Famir is a source of a lot of good things for him. But I'm also like trying to grapple with, and I'm thoroughly reminded of like actively avoiding religious districts when I traveled in on Dale, and just like just kind of making sure that attention is like kept on him, and just kind of like glancing downward, because I associate a lot of negative things with that attention. So like being happy for him while also trying not to be like dismissive of my own sort of chagrin, or I don't want to say disgust, that feels strong, but
But so I maybe I sense there's an uncomfortability there.
Yeah.
You all right? You're frowning at one point.
No. I think there was a bug. You didn't get you?
A bug, right? Yeah. I could think of a bug that it might be.
I'm just I know this is strange, but I'm just not comfortable with a
The
lot
gods.
well, just religion in general.
Yeah. It's weird, huh?
It is. And Kellic was the first person of any sort of association with any temple that was, well, I guess Seeker, but Seeker had kind of walked away from that. That was, kind.
And you walked away too, right?
Then I never really, well, the last time I was in a temple, I think I was maybe 7 years old.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's happened, so maybe you've said this before, and we're almost at the carts that have the food and stuff, so maybe we talk about this later, but why do you not like the gods again? They gave you all those cool powers.
Oh, Flynn, I think you sometimes think that the gods give things away for free, just for some words that were said.
Well, what did you do to get them?
You're right, this is not a conversation before we walk up to a food cart at a festival. This is a...
Sure. Sorry, that is...
different.
Yeah.
What'd you do to get your tattoos?
A lot of training and practice and pain.
Yep. So your magic, a lot of training, practice, and pain?
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, even before I started training, I had to start memorizing things, and that was even before I got to the collective. I was like picked up by someone that I guess saw something in me and trained me for like about a year before I was even then shipped off to learn. And like it was a lot basically. And again, maybe you're right. Maybe we should talk about this at a longer time because I am really hungry.
All right.
But yeah, it took
well,
a while.
you asked.
Yeah. No, I mean, whenever you want to talk about it, I mean, I'm curious too because you're a good fighter.
Well, thank you.
And I mean, if you could teach me to draw, I'm curious what else you can teach me.
Oh, we can always have some sparring sessions, Flynn. I won't go easy on you.
I would love that so much.
Here, you help me scout out the best food.
I'm looking for a turkey leg. What are you looking for?
I want something dessert. I want something sweet.
Really? I mean, you
are-
can't just live off of sweets. You're right. It's a celebration. I'm
The
sorry. You're
man
right.
with the lemon pastries, and I
You know
ate
what?
at
That actually
Rosie's.
sounds really good. Let's get them.
Let's see if they have them.
You hear someone says sweets and pastry, but someone goes Aurora Bite, and it's like pastries filled with jam with the sparkly dust on them. As we cut over to, as you go, we'll cut over to Seeker and Olma. As you sort of turn and leave the group, as Kellic and them begin to make their way towards the food, you two start to look for Brim.
Yeah, I want to look for Brim, and I also want to look for the brother that had the sigil of Loris.
Okay. Cool.
See if I can see either of them in the crowd.
Awesome. You see both of them. It looks like the gentleman who has the plate mail armor with the symbol on it is presiding over the like one of the games. He's over by the kids wearing the cloaks. And as you see now, as you kind of look, and a little bit of time has passed, you see it's just a foot race. Like they are racing like from here to there as quickly as possible. But there's a performative aspect to it too with the cloak. It's kind of like halfway between. It's like 80% foot race, 20% dance. So you see him over there, and then pretty quickly though, you don't have to look long for Brim because he also finds you guys. As he comes up and finds you, he says, "Good morning, happy Everdawn," and reaches in to give you a hug. And then he just, like, his eyes cut down. He goes, "Hey, Olma."
Hi, Brim.
Yeah. He doesn't, like, you see he doesn't make eye contact with you, but he knows you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, return the hug.
Yeah.
And question: Who is that with the flowers? The sigil on?
That it'd be, and the W starts. Brother Tristan. Like he goes, Brother Tristan.
But that's not what we need. Did you talk to Danewind?
Yes.
And
What did he say?
He is eager to meet you all. I can take you to him.
Olma?
Can he fix my necklace?
I think so.
Do you want to get everyone else, or do you want to go talk to him?
I think we should fix my necklace.
We're both content.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's go find him.
We can let them eat.
Are they looking back real quick, like trying to spot? Like, would they be in range for me to send a message?
I think like as the time splits and you go there, I think they're still probably they're like just arriving at the food table. They got slowed down by. Kellic is that's true. So they have arrived at the food table. Kellic is like surrounded by probably 2 or 3 different people who are
like a guy stuck holding a door for people.
Yeah.
Right.
And like
I mean,
people
this is your Super Bowl.
And they, like people see, and Kellic is caught up right now in conversation with. I imagine at this point you probably see a little 2 novices that dart away from Kellic and then immediately is swarmed by like 3 more people.
I'll reach up and rub the earring on my left ear. We're going to find Danewind. Think he can fix the Olma's necklace. Also, tell them Lars made magic. Okay, bye.
Who's that too?
To
Kellic. To Kellic.
Of
Awesome.
course.
Don't know why I would lie to these people.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
But good. Keep us appraised of goings on, and if you need anything at all.
Oh, I told Gaelic, so we can go.
Okay.
Seeker, as you finish sending the message, you look and you catch sight of someone. And the reason you catch sight of them is because they're looking at you.
Oh.
You see what appears to be a human woman. Traveler's clothes, shades of brown, off-white, tall, strong-jawed, long dark curling hair, and like a sort of faint, from this distance, just very light eyes. But they're just staring at you.
What are they? Like, I recognize what they're wearing at all? Are they?
Nothing. It looks like just very sort of nondescript traveler's clothes.
I'm gonna rub my ear, and looking back. Hello, can I help you?
When you send the message, they look at you, and you see that like the message registers. They don't say anything.
Oh.
Just turn and walk away.
Bro, did you see that person looking at me?
Yeah.
Do you recognize them?
Yeah. That's silent.
Oh.
They don't talk.
Okay. That's why they didn't say anything back.
Yeah. We don't. They've been here a few months.
Where'd they come from?
Hard to tell when someone doesn't talk, but they've been here a while, and they help spend time with Elderthorn. She might know more.
They were just staring at me, but let's go to let's go find Danewind.
Okay. Yeah. And takes you and Olma. Brim sort of turns around and begins to make his way through the crowd. It's not a big crowd. Within a minute or so, you see kind of standing at the edge of everything, just sort of looking. You see two figures. You see Brother Danewind, who is sort of, or Headmaster Danewind, who is standing there, tall, like shoulders back, hands behind his back. Olma, this is very familiar. Just wide stance, like very just upright and still, like doesn't move, doesn't flinch, barely blinks. Just sort of like looking at everything and watching. There's not a smile on his face. There's just like a very, very schooled stillness.
Yeah.
And next to him, you see the towering form of that Goliath, who is still just kind of looking like up into the sky. And his head kind of just like every once in a while cocks, and then you see that they, as you guys approach,
I know these two. I try to quiet my steps as much as I can.
Roll a stealth check for me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Could I try and...
If I'm wearing my cloak, am I at advantage for stealth?
Just advantage on stealth.
Yeah.
You are invisible.
Yeah.
And whiz.
Those are both pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
You have good stealth though, right?
Yeah, but not good
But,
enough. Yeah, not for a 2 and a 3.
That's the worst, dude.
That is an 11.
Okay. As you approach, Olma is not able to quiet her steps.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe some nerves, if I may suggest. So as you approach, Seeker, you kind of can actually hear Olma's breathing quicken maybe a little bit. And the eyes of these two figures, Brother Danewind kind of like sweeps over to you, and the Goliath continues to look up in the air. But as you approach, you get within about 15, 20 feet or so, at which point the Goliath, their head goes from looking at the sky to right at you. Like the eyes, and as you see now, as you get a little closer, his eyes are completely like milky white. From the outside, it looks like this creature does appear to be blind, at least from a vision perspective. But when you get close, actually, even before that, when you get within about 40 feet of this creature, their eyes snap to you and then return to the sky. But you, like, it is very clearly sees where you are. But you approach. Brother Danewind looks to you, and then his eyes sort of are searching, but he knows as well that you are there. Somewhere. And the voice comes out. Welcome to Oakengate.
Thank you for having us. This is nice.
It is. Brim tells me that you have come here with a purpose.
We have. And it is one that is somewhat urgent. And we need your help to fix a precious amulet.
Help is given to those who look forward at Oakengate. Office Marsk. It just speaks to the general direction of where you are.
You hear my foot like hit the ground. Like the tips of my toes just like into the dirt. Hello.
You see a muscle in his jaw kind of feather. It is hard to do this with you as you are.
I'll bend down to one knee and just kind of look to my side. Do you want to stay hidden?
I'm scared.
It's okay.
If they can't see me, then they can't kick me out again. And they can't look at me with fear in their eyes.
think the big one maybe did see you somehow. I don't know if they could kick you out even if they wanted to. But I understand. That's why I ask. It's up to you, not them.
Are you gonna look at me different?
No.
Okay. And I let go of his robe slowly and I put my hood down and I just stay looking at him.
And I'll stay there and look at Olma.
Olma, your brother Dane would say.
I slowly turn and keep my eyes downcast.
Look at me, child.
I slowly look up.
A very, very faint expression crosses his face. Kind of like a grimace. I'm sorry, child. We failed you.
My necklace is broken.
Clenches his teeth again. Then let us fix what can be mended. Come.
I grab Seeker's hand.
I grab your hand back.
Do you wish to tell your other friends?
They know we're going.
Brother Garrick. And the two of them turn and they walk away from the center of the village. As you follow Seeker, Olma, Brother Brim, Watcher Garrick, and Headmaster Danewind takes you away from the center. And you begin to walk through the village, and you see sort of rising up, you can see they're making a direct line for the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
They go up as the sky is lightening and the sun's rays are kind of hitting the front of the building. It's large, imposing. You see the sort of crevices and nooks of the construction of the sanctuary, sort of carved partially from and out of the bedrock of the peak that it sits up against. You know that a good portion of the sanctuary itself is carved straight out of the mountain. This sort of edifice that faces out, at one point used to be the mountain face itself. You see the tall peaked towers, this sort of like oxidized, like green tiled roof. And as you see these sort of large, like double steps, that they go up and then curve in and then join in that one large staircase.
That's cool.
As the five of you sort of mount those steps and go up towards the sanctuary, you see as it goes. And you see there sort of through the archway, the doors spread open. And how does Olma feel back in the shadow of this place?
Scared.
You see as you go up, you eventually reach the top of the landing. You see the door spread out before you, and you see the courtyard, around which are the novice quarters. You walk in, and you can see the blossoms of the cherry trees have long since fallen as a result of the long eve. And there is while life still clings here and is sort of insulated in this space, it is definitely in the grips of winter.
Yeah.
It's not as green. The branches kind of look a little scraggly, but it is well kept. The snow is swept out. There's no snow in here. You see the carefully maintained walkways through this sort of large central green area where the novices are free to roam. And you see the sort of exterior courtyard, the doors every so often that represent the novices' rooms. And Brother Danewind and Watcher Garrick, they take you straight through to the back where you know the true sanctuary lies. The novices are kept on this side of the Hall of the Watchers. The rest of you, as you are told, do you go and join? If you're when Seeker says like we're going to.
We didn't hear it, I don't think, because you're far away.
I would have relayed the information at this point, I guess. That,
I would have
that
looked
they were
at
going
Calic and I would have been like, I would have just nodded or shrugged, like, do you think we need to go? I don't know if you can hear me, how far away you are. But
I mean,
He would have.
we could reconvene, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're going deeper up there. So try to fix the necklace. Is that a concern?
I mean, do you think we should be there? I mean,
We should probably see the Bright Wall if they are able to give us access.
I also want to support Olma.
yeah.
I'd hope she'd have a little bit of fun, but if this is what she wants to do, then I think we should also all be there for her.
Well,
I agree.
maybe once this is fixed, she'll feel like having fun.
Maybe so.
That's up to her.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know if I've talked to you about this, Desley, but Calic, you know, I want to see if we can get Alma any chance to be a kid. Doesn't really get that, so.
Such good topics of conversation for a festival. Let's that's such a large bag of.
Yeah, maybe after the
Ooh.
necklace is fixed, we get a drink.
Okay, that is. Let's go up. Let's go up.
Let's go meet him.
Aye, sounds good.
As you all, as Brim and Seeker and Olma sort of arrive to the edge of that courtyard, you see Olma, the very familiar large pathway of what is known as the Hall of the Watchers. You see the statues of monks from some time past, the large statues that sort of stand looking down at this long pathway that leads into the true heart of the sanctuary. A constant reminder to the novices who enter into this place that they are being measured and weighed, and the dedication that it takes to become someone who may one day be depicted here. Some of them are older than others. Some are like the features have faded with the erosion and the rains. Others are a little more new. There's actually no clear indication of who any of these people are, whether that was intentional or whether that was, it's just been lost to time. No one actually knows. So they all have nicknames based on the features or they all have nicknames based on the way that they look. There's different races depicted. There are dragonborn, humans, elves, dwarves, but they sort of stand in rows. And there are many, probably several dozen different statues that all look down at this hall. And you see at the other end, the large open cavern that leads to the Hall of Fists. At this point, the rest of you catch up as Brother Danewind and Garrick all sort of sit and wait for the three of you to catch up, and you see the same thing, this sort of courtyard that is in the grip of winter, and eventually you make your way and you see into this large hallway. As unless you two go to say to the expense of saying anything, Garrick and Danewind do not speak. They just it is a very sort of quiet group, and the three of you approach, and you see that sort of tension that is here.
I probably will just clock that Olma is visible, and I'll kind of smirk and smile at that, and that's about it.
Right. And you all sort of make your way in as you sort of cross the threshold, make your way through the Hall of the Watchers. As you all walk through, there is a definitive outside presence, like something that is tangible and felt, that is magical or innate or something. There is a kind of like almost like a tingle that passes over your skin. There is a quality of this place that goes beyond just a the sort of like spooky vibes that you normally get.
Mhm.
Like there is definitively something about this space that is kind of immediately like, in a way, almost demands like silence.
Is it unsettling or is it?
Oof. I will leave that up to you. It is, if you've ever been to a space that is like a memorial for something really bad that happened, it's not like, it's almost like a,
Like a solemnity.
it's solemnity. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. It's not bad. It's just like, there's a reverent
Oh, okay.
aspect to it. But it is very solemn.
Especially with all these like
Solemn.
large statues.
And yeah, everything's kind of looking down.
Okay.
But eventually you cross into, you sort of exit that hall and it kind of lifts. Like that feeling kind of goes away a little bit. It's like you're all adults and you feel that kind of pass over you. And the fact that there are these novices who walk this every single day. I'm not sure what each of you makes of that, but it doesn't go unnoticed, I think. But you pass into the Hall of Fists, and you almost see the familiar training grounds that are spread out. You see the wooden dummies, the obstacle courses, the pits of sand where students would try their hand against one another. You see, off to one side, the last space you were before you left. The training ring where everything happened. And Danewind takes you through further. You go past through the Hall of Fists and into a hallway at the end. You go through this hallway and you see the two sort of the T intersection where you know that off to the right is the library where Master Riven and his books lie. And off to the left, the quarters of the monks. And then straight ahead, where the hallway ends, you see two large plain stone doors. You remember from your time here that novices don't go back there.
Mm-mm.
There's no entrance into that area.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the monks don't go back there. In fact, you've never seen those doors open or close.
Mm-hmm.
And Brother Danewind and Garrick take you through. As you approach them, you see these, again, massive stone doors that you've never seen open, and they both split, either one going to the side. And they reach out and they touch the wall. And you see is like both of them sort of like their hands kind of glow with like a dim light as they each spend a key. And you see the massive stone doors open. Immediately, the smell of water, like a breeze, comes through, and you hear the first thing. And it's interesting because it's like, whoa, it goes from quiet and solemn to you hear the roar of water.
Wow.
Ooh.
Immediately, as soon as the doors open, you see this, you feel this mist kind of come out and over and hit all of you in the face. And as you see there, just very, very close by, as a matter of fact, a small stone platform that goes out maybe 30 feet or so. And in front of it, just a large waterfall. You see two like stone pillars that reach up and then end in what look like some sort of metal apparatus. Like there's like two spits of metal at the top and then water all around the platform. As once again, they take you through to the waterfall shrine. Brother Danewind now walks up to the two sort of stone pillars, and they're set right at about like hip height and within arm's distance of one another. As he grabs hold of like the metal devices that are on the top, they almost, now that you're closer, they look like handles almost. And you see as once again and his body kind of ripples as he spends 5 key points.
Dang, dude.
And you hear the shifting of stone,
Jeez.
and the waterfall begins to part
Oh my god.
as two large stone doors open up
Wow.
Dope.
and cut the water off as it diverts into the side and the pool that kind of surrounds this stone platform at the base. And you see a staircase descend with a purple light emanating from it.
Purple light, huh?
You descend the staircase
Oh gosh.
This light grows kind of brighter.
I'm squeezing Seeker's
You
hand.
don't have to break my. You're so strong.
You go down about 40 feet or so of
Uh-huh.
large stone steps. The light grows brighter until eventually you find yourselves in a room. And I'm going to move you guys over.
What?
Oh.
For no reason at all.
Snippity snap, dude.
To the bright wall
Oh.
and the bright forge. You see a large room spread out around you. Off to one side, you see books on shelves made of stone. To the left, you see a forge with a purple flame emanating from. And at the back of the room, massively depicted, you see a map of Elbor. Purple light glowing from it, flowing in purple plasma as little tiny dots speckle the area. As Brother Danewind turns to you. Welcome to the Bright Wall. This is where we can help you. And we'll pick up there next.
At least we took us to the bright wall.
Oh my god.
Oh my
You guys
gosh.
are here. You are at the Bright Wall and the Bright Forge. And the purpose of Garrick has yet to be determined. And what exactly is he doing here? But we'll pick up there next time.
Yeah, what?
I hope you guys had fun. Thank you guys so much. Of course, thank you to all of our lovely audience. We appreciate you very much. And we'll see you next time. Bye, nerds.
Sorry, I was early.
That's all right. That's all right. We can redo it if we want to.
We jumped the gun.
We can redo it if we want to.
We're so excited.
Hey nerds, Devin here. Good morning, good evening, good night, good whatever time of day it is you're listening and enjoying Venture Forth. Please like, follow, and subscribe on whatever platform you're using. If you want to be super generous, please tell your friends about us. It can be something you all start to do together. Have a Venture Forth listen party every Tuesday. It's super fun. And if you are interested in going the extra mile, please check out our Patreon link in the description to show support for the show, and you get access to exclusive bonus content. So cool. Bye, nerds.